Hello, hi, welcome to GMA Talk, your most beloved, your most favorite, your most awesome talk show right here on YouTube and all your favorite social media platform. Thank you very much to all those who have subscribed. Continue to watch, continue to comment, continue to share. Thank you, greatly appreciated for always tuning here on GMA Talk for everything refugees and migration that is happening around the world. So the past 2 weeks we have dedicated the program towards educating people what is happening in Congo. So if you haven't watched those videos, just 2 videos back, you will find out very informative, very knowledgeable conversation in terms of the situations and educating people what is happening in Congo. So check out those videos. And then on this week, this episode is dedicated here on what is happening in Canada in terms of immigrant numbers. So as a result of the current ongoing pandemic, COVID-19, movement around the world, and some places, some regions, some countries, it was halted at like 100% shuts down mobility of people in terms of border crossing, and others maybe in terms of 90%. And countries began relaxing the restriction when the pandemic started to slow down or the numbers started to go down. But then some countries, they are now in the second wave of the COVID-19. So measures are again being put or reinstalled in terms of halting mobility and movement of cross borders, or even some countries, even inside the countries, there's some restrictions in place. So here in Canada recently, as a result of this year, immigrants coming to Canada having been a challenge, and the Canadian government every year they always set numbers of how many immigrants to take in terms of like skilled workers or other levels of workers or refugees or migrants, in terms of the job that's to be filled in the country as a result of um, the population not the birth rate not being very huge, or even at the same time with the more and more population in baby boomers in the next upcoming couple and few years retiring. So there will be a lot of workforce needing some specialties or special skills for people to be filled in, or even just other jobs in general. So the Canadian government recently set the target in the next 3 years to take in 1.2 million immigrants in order to really come to Canada, whether it's to study, whether it's to work, whether it's taking in immigrants. Really the government wants people to make Canada their home, and this as a result of also helping the economy in the long run, and just the life here in Canada. So with this 1.2 million numbers announced recently on October 30th by Minister of Citizenship, Immigration and Refugees, so it's broken out in terms of so next year 2021, 401,000 immigrants will be taken, and then in 2022 the number is 411,000, and in the 2023 the number is 421,000. So now in terms of, this is like the total overall immigrants to be taken in the country under like special categories. We'll put a link and then you will get to learn those categories yourself in terms of whether it's like skilled workers, protected people, refugees, family reunification. So there's so many things that and people, there's so many categories of qualification, and people fall into this 1.2 million in the next 3 years. Now, the focus that I want to focus is in terms of refugees intake, in the refugee and protected persons intake in the next 3 years. So that 1.2 million immigrants to be taken in 2 years. So in 2021, refugees and protected person, it's gonna be 59,500, and then in 2022 it's gonna be 60,500, and then in 2023 it's gonna be 61,000. So these are the numbers in the next 2 years of the government is dedicated in terms of the sponsorship of the receiving and accommodating protected person around the world, refugees around the world, to be resettled and establish a life here in Canada. So next year, with all events permitting, the government is projected to bring in refugees in the amount of refugees and protected persons in the amount of 51,500. So, and usually this is done in terms of government sponsorship, private sponsorship, or partnership between like private and government sponsorship, or even like a family reunification in terms of refugees. So this is done in terms of there's different category also, so it doesn't mean all these 51,500 next year will be brought just by government alone, but majority of them will be like in terms of private sponsorship and other types of category visa, which is like blended visas among co-partnership with government and private sectors, and then also other people who want to sponsor refugees to come into Canada. So as a result of really this pandemic which has taken over the world, this year the refugees, refugees sponsorship and refugees migration has really been facing a challenge. So many people, there are some people I've heard of who had their visas ready like for resettlement in other countries, but because the pandemic, everything had to stop. That other people were going through like whether it's like medical testings or whether it's like interviews, like everything had to stop as a result of that. So the governments around the world really are called upon, and we call upon them really to do more in terms of protecting refugees and resettling refugees, or helping and supporting refugees in where they are, as a result of this year, the way things has been. So there will be more and more refugees, really requiring support. Before pandemic, like among all the total numbers of refugees around the world, there are reports only about 1% or less than 1% were receiving resettlement to other third countries. And now imagine what 2020 has been like. It has been a challenge, it has been a struggle, even for people who are still fleeing from conflict and then wanting to find shelter in nearby countries or elsewhere. Movement has been hard because of border locking, but the fighting, the conflicts, the war, like whether it's like across Africa, in Asia, and whether it's in Myanmar or in South America, whether it's in terms of in Venezuela, or other like Central American migrants and refugees in Mexico wanting to head into the US, or whether it's even in Europe in terms of those who are crossing the Mediterranean Sea and ending into Greece, wanting to reach into European countries. And recently there was a fire even in one of the refugee settlement place, Moria refugee camp. So there are indeed a lot of things which are moving forth. Intergovernmental organization, governments, or and then even like regular citizens will be required to do more. Private sector in terms of businesses, everybody will be required and is needed, not rather, and is needed in terms of helping and supporting those most vulnerable people around us, ensuring that they are well taken care of, they are well welcomed. So as this for Canada, as these numbers have been set for refugee and protected persons intake of 51,500. So really I hope all the events and and situations will allow for these refugees and protected person to be resettled, as the number says, for 2021. And yeah, and hopefully from there, and always, everybody will be encouraged, to support refugees, whether it's here in Canada, around the world, or in refugee camps. Refugees are continuously needing our support and our protection. So really, this talk, this is it in terms of the immigrant numbers for the next 2 years of 1.2 million in Canada. So we'll see how the numbers in other countries are set in terms of around the world, in terms of whether it's a refugee resettlement or even in terms of refugee supporting on the ground. So as here on GMA Talk, if you have any story to share, or if you know somebody who's really working with refugees on the ground and really doing amazing work, or in terms of trying to do the best that he or she can, please recommend the person to be coming here on the GMA Talk to share the information on how people can help, to share the story on what they're doing to help and support refugees, or even if you yourself are a refugee, you want to share your story with the world, and you want people to learn about the situation you're going through, or even the day-to-day life. Yeah, you're welcome also to share your story on the platform here on GMA Talk, because here it's all about educating people on the refugees and migration issues around the world, so that we believe here the first step to helping is being informed. And once you're informed about the situation, and from there on, you then see how you can help, how you can support others. So, right here on GMA Talk, love, peace, and unity. Until next time, please don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to visit the links which I'm gonna put down in terms of the immigrant intake here in Canada. And then, yeah, if you have a story from around the world, please do recommend, and we will address it right here on GMA Talk. So take great care of yourself. This pandemic continues to pose challenges, whether it's in terms of mental health, physical health, financially, poverty levels around the world as a result of this, projected and continuously to increase. People continually to finding hard, to make ends meet without government support, government subsidy. So it's gonna be really, really hard for people in the next months and a couple years to come. So we are needed to support and stand with each other, and be sure to take great care of yourself, your family, and check on friends, how they're doing around you. Because at times it can take that one simple hi, to really somebody's heart to be rejoiced, or for them to feel indeed that somebody cares out there on how they're doing. So see you next time. Your host here, Gerard. Love, peace, and unity. Please subscribe.